Hey everyone, welcome to today's YouTube video. Today, EA and Codemasters dropped this major update for F1 22 that fixed a lot of changes, and while there's still a lot of issues that remain in the game, this was definitely a much needed update to try to hopefully get the game back in a positive direction. Since the launch of F1 22, unfortunately it's been riddled with numerous issues, various bugs and various glitches, various issues with being able to even launch the game, to be able to complete a race, some people not even being able to play VR like myself at one point in time, so on and so forth. Obviously, one of the bigger issues from all that is AI straight line speed, as we all know. While this update still didn't fix that, and I see a lot of people on Twitter and social media complaining about that, this update did bring in a lot of fixes and a lot of changes that are definitely useful and are definitely going to make the game an overall better experience. All right, so as you can see, here we are, patch 1.06, available now on all platforms. And we're just going to briefly go over this. Obviously, if you want to see this, you can go to EA's website, or even if you follow them on any social media platform, you could easily find these patch notes there as well. Overall vehicle performance has been updated to now match and mimic what's going on in real life. Overall less ICE MGU-H wear when using automatic transmission. Doesn't apply to me. Sector times indicators will now show the correct colors when completing a lap, which, again, saw a lot of people who were complaining about that but not fixing some of the other stuff. So, again, minor, doesn't matter. Improved AI logic on pit lane entry and exits. Addressed an issue where tire temperatures would reset after pausing the game in online game modes. That one's pretty big. Obviously it's tough to try to sit there and play online, trying to play a career, trying to play just a multiplayer lobby when, that happens. This was also a very big one in my opinion. Addressed an issue where in some instances, broadcast safety car can cause all AI controlled cars to overtake it, which results in mass disqualifications. I saw that bug everywhere on Reddit, on Twitter. That's a big one. Another big one resulted in an issue where personnel facility upgrades are not applying to drivers. Again, another really big one. Glad they fixed that as well. Another big one addressed an issue on Baku where the player could crash into turn 15 when under AI control using flying lap. Again, immediately your lap's over. And then the very next issue, also huge, addressed an issue where the tech pro barrier is coming loose on Baku. Multiple parts of the track you'd have, I'm sure you guys have seen it, multiple parts of the track you'd have the walls that were like kind of glitching into the track itself, or into the racing line and into the racing circuit, and it just destroys your car and launches it into outer space. One of the biggest, and I mean biggest, updates, hands down, without question, correcting Kevin Magnussen's eye color. I mean, that, God, I have been complaining about that since day one, and I am so glad they finally fixed it. Improved performance and mix of tire scrubs and skids. This I did notice. I will say that I did notice, which is good. Some more overall VR improvements, which I think is big, even though my VR headset just broke on me. Eventually, I do want to play the game in VR again, so again, overall, visual quality, performance, optimizations, which I think is big, as well as, address involuntary head movement when braking or accelerating, which is good. So I would imagine, and unfortunately I can't test it, but I would imagine that means less bouncing around, when you're inside the VR headset. Now this one for me, this was huge, right? This other piece, a deep dive article covering our changes to handling and force feedback can be found here. Now this was big. Below, handling group lead David Greco gives you additional insight on today's tweaks below. Engine torque. The engine torque curve has been tweaked slightly with an almost flat torque of 6,000 to 10,000 RPM to a curve, with a lower max Newton meter and progressively increasing torque. This means that the engine has less torque at lower RPM, and that power will increase gradually. Now here's the big thing there, right? What that ultimately means, it means that it allows you to be able to ease into the throttle better and not have to worry about the back end of the car just completely dumping it. All right, so it's overall less instant torque happening that just makes those rear wheels just light up, especially when you're in like lower gears and things like that, and allowing it to be a much easier and smoother experience, especially if you're a little bit more of a casual player, or somebody who just really isn't that good. Gear ratios. This is also kind of cool too. Gear ratios have been tweaked slightly, especially the lower gears, making them longer to help with traction. Also a big update, because now in your lower gears, you're able to, again, you're able to go through those gears a little bit longer, kind of similar to what it was in previous years. Is it super realistic? No. It actually takes away from the realism at that point. But again, overall, it makes it an easier experience. And these guys at Codemasters and EA, they want it to be somewhat realistic, but they also have to lean more towards the idea of it being simple and a little bit more casual. So like that simcade kind of experience, especially for those playing on console, not playing with a wheel, and things of that nature. Force feedback. This is a big one for me. The force feedback has been enhanced by adding the self-aligning torque of the tires to the overall calculation. Self-aligning torque is very important because its peak always happens before the peak slip angle, and it is a natural torque that the tire has to center itself. In few words, it does two things. It allows the force feedback to have a boost in torque around the center of the steering wheel position, meaning that the forces will be felt crisper and stronger. It also loses a lot of its natural torque past the peak, meaning that the understeer and oversteer can be felt better and sooner. Now that last one, that one's huge for me. That one's huge. If you guys were watching the live stream the other night and you were watching me do my team, you'd actually see that, at one point I actually had to adjust some of my force feedback because I felt like I wasn't feeling anything. You know what I mean? I felt like the car was starting to go and I had no control over it. I had no feel of it. And it just, a lot of times I felt like there was nothing I could do. It just felt way too light in a lot of cases. Now, granted, that was on Saudi Arabia. It's where, it's a track that overall it does feel very smooth. So there's like no bumps. And so you don't really feel a lot of force feedback. I even recognized that in last year's game too. And then obviously that changes from wheel to wheel as well. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really cool because now we have this experience to where everything feels a little bit more natural. You know what I mean? This update has brought in a lot. It's allowed you to be able to race the car better. I know a lot of you have, like myself, have kind of struggled in these early days of this game, where it's tough to drive these cars. It is very, very difficult to sit there and be able to get into the throttle early and get out of these corners and go up through the gears and have any sort of chance at fighting back against the AI who are very strong in a straight line, as we know. But again, it's one of those things where overall it feels a lot smoother. It feels like I can actually save the car from going, save the car from slipping. And to me, that's huge. That's huge, because that was one of my biggest issues that I've had so far, is that I find myself losing the car a lot because I can't really feel it. And I went in before I recorded this, I went in and I actually sat down and I tested it and I tried it. And sure enough, I could definitely feel the car start to go. Now, some cases I can't, and that was even the case in previous years of games, so that's nothing new to me. But in most cases, I could actually feel the car start to slip. I could feel the car start to go, and I could actually save it. I could actually control it. I can ease my way into the throttle and go up through the gears and not have to short shift almost immediately and lose out on all that torque, and then ultimately end up losing any sort of opportunity to make an overtake and pass the car ahead of me. I could actually fight back now on coming out of corners and going down some of the straights. Again, the AI straight line speed is still bad, still needs to be fixed, but I can now at least try. I can now at least make an effort, and that to me is huge, because all this time for the past month, we haven't really had that. We haven't really seen that, and that's rather unfortunate. So I think this force feedback update, I think this is huge. I think it's handling update as well, because that's a part of it. Again, I think that's massive. I know ultimately a lot of people are upset with this game, and I don't blame them, because the game can be fun. However, it's been a letdown. It's been a major letdown from day one. From day one, the game just hasn't just hasn't lived up to the hype. Day one, even prior to day one, I should say, when you got the Champions Edition, you had the pre-order launch, it didn't even launch on time. They launched it like 10 hours late, and their answer for trying to make up for it was literally, hey, we're just going to give you a bunch of XP for towards something that you have to pay us money for anyways. And then since then, again, we've just seen numerous bugs and issues, some of which that even returned from the beginning of last year's game. Somehow they managed to bring back bugs that got fixed last year into this year's game, and they still haven't been fixed. And unfortunately, that's the downside, is that their steps into fixing this game and making it a smoother experience for everyone just unfortunately has been very slow. There hasn't been a lot of effort or time management, we'll say, going into trying to make this what the game should be. And I'm not a video game designer. I will be the first person to tell you that I don't know shit about making a video game. I just know it's a bunch of numbers like the Matrix, and that's about it. But at the end of the day, as a consumer, it's tough for me to want to continue to support you and as a as a company and as a dev team. Like, it's tough for me to want to sit there and go, hey, I'm gonna keep playing your game, I'm gonna keep wanting to play your game, and I'm definitely gonna have faith in next year's game, because as of right now, I don't have faith in next year's game. And from the beginning too, and I'm kind of going on a side tangent here, but from the beginning, when it was announced that EA bought Codemasters, we all said the same thing. We were all super upset because it's EA, right? EA doesn't exactly have the greatest track record when it comes to how they treat their devs and how much input they have when it comes to making these games, and sometimes they're a little bit too involved, and again, the EA approach to things doesn't exactly excite most of the gaming community that's out there. I tried to remain as optimistic going into this game as I possibly could be, and I will say there's a lot of good things about this game. There really is. There's a lot of things that they need to add to next year's game and kind of bring in a new, fresh take on things. But there is a lot of good stuff about this game. The tracks themselves are really good. Obviously, a lot of them got updated and they feel very well. The new cars, they are very difficult to drive, even after this update, even after we've seen the changes to the force feedback, the handling models, things like that. The cars are still very difficult to drive. By no means is it now just a cakewalk, but at the same token, there's still just so many things that the game is just kind of stale. I myself am a content creator here on YouTube. I stream F1. That is my game. That is my content. However, I watch a lot of other F1 content creators, and from the people that I watched, they all have been doing the same approach that they did last year and the year prior. Obviously, when it comes to my team, they play my team, they provide commentary over it, things like that, which I'm perfectly okay with. I'm not knocking anybody's content. That's not what I'm trying to get at. My point is that I watch Erva on YouTube, who, in my opinion, is the best F1 content creator out there, hands down, no question about it. He's already gone through a full season in his My Team mode. He's in his second season. It hasn't even been a month since the game launched, and I'm already kind of bored of watching those style of videos. And again, that's not a knock on him. I don't that's not what I mean for it to be. It's just that it's my team. My team mode is it's basic. It's boring. I mean, it's the same as it was last year, the year prior. It's really no different, and that's really upsetting because there's so much potential and there's so many things they could do with that mode that can create such an incredible experience. And I'll save that for another YouTube video, later down the road. But it's unfortunate, man, because it's stuff that I enjoy watching, it's stuff that I enjoy playing, but unfortunately at the end of the day, it's almost kind of repetitive in a way, and not in a good way. F1 will always have a special place in my heart, and it'll always keep drawing me back in. Even this year's game, I'm still going to continue to play this game because I do actually enjoy the game. While yes, it annoys the hell out of me sometimes, between the AI aggression levels and the fact that they leave you literally zero space on all parts of the track, on any track. The fact that their straight line speed is just insane right now. The fact that a lot of times they'll make contact with you, it does nothing to them, but it sends you flying off the track. Plus, it's just a numerous amount of other things between various bugs and glitches in the game. And again, it's upsetting. It's unfortunate. Hell, even just like the modes in the game, they spend so much time into F1 Life, and it means literally nothing to the game. Literally nothing. I haven't looked at F1 Life since the day I launched it, because it means absolutely nothing to the game. But again, at the end of the day, I'm still going to keep playing it. I'm still going to keep making content on it. I'm excited for some of the content that I have been creating for it. And again, I think the game as a whole has potential. I think it has a good future. Unfortunately, we just got to wait and see, you know, how that pans out and how that works out. And we'll go from there. And for all of you who are, you know, upset about the fact that there's still a lot in this game that needs to be updated and needs to be fixed, trust me, they are getting there. They are definitely working on it. It'll definitely happen. While yes, it's not going to be tomorrow, we just got to try to be a little patient. It'll happen. I'm not saying it's fair that we have to be patient, but unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. If we want to keep playing this game, if we want to keep enjoying this game, we just kind of gotta just grin it and bear it and just kind of move forward and hopefully in the end we end up enjoying it. But guys, let me know down below. Let me know what you guys think of this update. Again, I think this is huge. You know, I think the changes to the force feedback, the engine, the gear ratios, I think all of that is massive for the game. It's massive for the future of this game in particular. And again, I think overall it's going to create an easier experience for a lot of you. I could definitely feel the difference in, you know, just overall grip levels, especially coming out of corners, and the overall force feedback feels a lot better. You know, everything feels smoother. I have a better feel. It feels honestly a little bit more similar to last year's game, with a heavier car, because that's still there and as it should be. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Leave the thumbs up if you do. And guys, as always, stay safe out there. Be kind to one another. Love one another. Adios. Peace out. Catch you in the next one.